Most used luxury cars are slow-motion financial disasters. A Lexus is different. You don't dread the dealership. You don't white-knuckle a long road trip wondering what's about to fail. You just drive it year after year, and it simply refuses to let you down. But not every Lexus earns that reputation equally. One model on this list shares its entire drivetrain with a Greek taxi philosophy, brutal simplicity, built to outlast its own warranty by decades. Another hides a hand-tuned V8 with titanium internals that most owners never realize exists under the hood. 12 Lexus models, real failure points, real buying advice. Let's start with the one mechanics quietly call the most boring car they'll ever service, which in this business is the highest compliment available. Number 12, Lexus CT200h 2014 to 2017. The CT200h is the slowest car Lexus has ever sold, and smart buyers genuinely don't care. Underneath the sharpened body panels and F-Sport badging sits a third-generation Toyota Prius, wearing a nicer interior and a higher price tag for the exact same drivetrain. That's not an insult. It's the entire reason this car belongs on this list. The 1.8-liter 2ZR FXE hybrid powertrain runs on the Atkinson combustion cycle specifically, which means internal components experience dramatically less stress than a conventional gasoline engine covering identical mileage. The hybrid battery pack shares its architecture directly with the mainstream Prius, meaning replacement modules stay cheap and genuinely abundant rather than locked behind Lexus-specific parts pricing. The honest caveat, early 2011 to 2013 CT200h models suffered a documented flaw where the EGR valve could clog, eventually leading to a blown head gasket if left unaddressed. Lexus redesigned the piston rings and intake manifold for 2014, and that redesign fully resolved the issue going forward. Buy a 2014 model year or newer specifically, and that exact failure mode simply, entirely doesn't exist for you. Clean examples remain cheap on the used market today, frequently overlooked by buyers who assume slow and Lexus can't coexist. Depreciation has already bottomed out on this generation, so unlike newer hybrids, you won't lose much more value simply by driving it home. But a hatchback hiding a Prius is one thing. The next entry is an entire suburban appliance built around the same philosophy. Number 11, Lexus RX350 2013 to 2015. The RX350 earns genuine criticism from enthusiasts for being boring. And in the mechanics world, boring is precisely the entire point. While European crossovers in this price range actively destroy bank accounts with electronic gremlins, the RX350 runs with the unkillable consistency of a household appliance nobody thinks twice about. The reason is the engine. The 2GR FE 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 uses a reinforced aluminum block and a genuinely reliable timing chain setup, producing 270 horsepower with zero turbo lag and zero catastrophic overheating risk. Forum owners with over 270,000 miles report needing nothing beyond idler pulleys, a serpentine belt, and routine fluid changes. The one documented weak point, a slow weeping oil leak from the front timing cover seal, a well-known issue across the entire 2GR FE family. On the RX specifically, the engine bay leaves no room to access the cover directly, meaning the repair requires dropping the entire engine and transmission as a unit, a job running roughly $2,000 to $2,500 in pure labor. Target the 2013 to 2015 facelift specifically, with updated electronics and the improved front grille. Before buying, insist on a lift inspection with a flashlight aimed at the timing cover. If dry, buy it immediately. Resale value on this generation has stayed remarkably strong, specifically because so few owners ever feel forced to sell theirs early. But a suburban tank is impressive. The next sedan turns the exact same logic into a genuine bank vault on wheels. Number 10, Lexus IS350 2006 to 2013 second generation. Both versions of the second generation IS look visually identical from the outside, and that similarity is exactly where buyers get burned. The smaller IS250 uses direct injection exclusively, and that specific fuel delivery method causes documented carbon buildup directly on the intake valves over time, since gasoline never physically washes the valve backside the way older port injection systems did. Owners report rough idle oil misfires and check engine codes appearing as early as 60,000 to 80,000 miles, with the only real fix being a walnut blasting service running several $100s to clean accumulated carbon manually off each valve. The IS350, by contrast, uses the 2GR FSE 3.5-liter V6 with Toyota's D4S dual injection system, combining direct and port injection simultaneously, with the port injectors actively washing the intake valves with fuel during every single combustion cycle. That single engineering difference completely eliminates the carbon buildup problem plaguing its smaller sibling. Target a 2011 to 2013 IS35. Specifically, the facelifted generation with updated headlights and revised suspension geometry. One additional risk at this age, Lexus used an eco-friendly dashboard material on these models that can crack and turn sticky in direct sunlight over time. Run your hand across the dash before buying. If it feels tacky, walk away. Beyond that single check, the IS350 remains one of the few genuine sleepers in this entire segment, looking unremarkable while quietly outperforming cars costing twice as much. But avoiding carbon buildup is one thing. The next sedan solves an entirely different German problem instead. Number 9, Lexus ES350 2013 to 2018. The ES350 is the classic old money comfort cruiser, built around a genuinely massive cavernous interior, genuine open-pore wood trim, and a cabin that consistently prioritizes comfort over aggressive handling characteristics. For this specific generation, Lexus stretched the chassis to match the Toyota Avalon, delivering genuine S-Class levels of rear legroom for roughly the price of a well-equipped used Honda Accord today. The ES350 shares the exact same 2GR FE 3.5-liter V6 found in the RX350, and rather than switching to the complex turbocharged 4 cylinders increasingly common across the segment, Lexus simply kept this proven, well-understood V6 block running instead. The 6-speed automatic transmission underneath is heavily over-engineered for the power it actually handles, shifting with a smoothness that genuinely borders on the imperceptible at any speed. Target the 2016 to 2018 facelift specifically, which adds modern safety technology across the board. The one option worth actively avoiding, the panoramic glass roof. Over time, the heavy glass tracks dry out and the sunroof motors burn out, leading to a genuinely frustrating repair running roughly $1,500. Find an example with the standard single-pane sunroof instead, and you've eliminated the only meaningful failure point remaining in the entire cabin. Owners consistently describe the ride quality as genuinely isolating road noise better than several German sedans costing considerably more to buy new. But a highway cruiser is one thing. The next car turns the same proven V8 into the most overlooked convertible bargain in the entire luxury segment. Number 8, Lexus SC430 2002 to 2010. When the SC430 launched, Top Gear's hosts publicly called it the worst car currently on sale, a reputation built almost entirely around its genuinely controversial bubble-shaped styling and notably soft suspension tuning rather than anything mechanical underneath. That reputation completely overshadowed the car on the used market for 2 full decades, which is precisely why it's become one of the single greatest V8 bargains currently available to any buyer paying attention. Underneath that polarizing styling sits the legendary 3UZ FE, 4.3-liter, naturally aspirated V8, universally regarded among independent mechanics as one of the smoothest, most reliable V8 engines ever manufactured by any company. It idles so quietly that owners routinely check the tachometer just to confirm the engine is actually still running at all. The one critical caveat, unlike most other engines on this list, the 3UZ FE in the SC430 uses a rubber timing belt rather than a chain. If that belt fails unexpectedly, the resulting damage destroys the entire engine completely beyond any repair. Before buying, demand documented proof the timing belt and water pump were replaced at the 90,000-mile interval specifically. If that service history doesn't exist, deduct roughly $1,500 from your offer immediately to cover it yourself. The folding hardtop mechanism itself itself, despite its complexity, has proven remarkably durable over 2 decades of real-world use. But a forgotten convertible is one thing. The next SUV is built like a genuine off-road tank wearing a tuxedo. Number 7. Lexus GX460 2010 to 2023. The GX460 sits on the same body-on-frame chassis underlying the legendary Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, and dealerships pushing buyers toward newer turbocharged unibody crossovers are quietly, deliberately steering them away from a genuinely tougher, considerably more capable vehicle. This is genuinely just a Land Cruiser wearing a tuxedo, full stop. Nothing more complicated than that. The mechanical centerpiece is the 1UR-FE 4.6-liter V8, paired with timing chains thick enough to handle genuine abuse and completely free of the fragile turbochargers, increasingly common in modern engines chasing efficiency numbers alone. The kinetic dynamic suspension system mechanically stabilizes the truck during highway driving, and the GX460 will comfortably tow 6,500 pounds without ever once visibly straining under that load. Target the 2020 to 2023 models specifically, featuring the updated front grille design and the most refined electronics package across the entire generation run. The one documented flaw to inspect carefully, sealant deep inside the engine's valley plate, positioned beneath the intake manifold, can degrade over time and cause a slow coolant leak. Shine a flashlight directly toward the back of the engine block near the transmission housing. Crusty pink residue confirms the leak, and the repair itself runs roughly $2,000 in labor. The cabin's mahogany trim and heated leather seating remain genuinely convincing inside a vehicle built primarily for off-road duty. But off-road royalty is one thing. The next sedan was specifically engineered to hunt down BMW on its own home turf. Number 6. Lexus GS350 2013 to 2015. The GS350 stands as the glaring exception to Lexus's reputation for boring, conservative styling, an executive sports sedan engineered specifically and deliberately to challenge the BMW 5 Series directly on pure driving dynamics and feel. Sharp, precise steering, an aggressive road stance, and a genuinely rigid chassis define the entire driving experience. But unlike its German rival, the GS simply refuses to blow a water pump or develop coolant leaks at 60,000 miles. The key engineering detail here is the FSE designation on this specific 2GR variant, which simply means it uses Toyota's clever D4S dual injection system, combining both direct and port injection simultaneously. That single engineering feature completely and permanently prevents the exact catastrophic carbon buildup problems plaguing comparable German direct injected engines from this same era, while still producing a genuine 306 naturally aspirated horsepower without ever generating any meaningful internal stress whatsoever. Target the rear-wheel drive version specifically over the all-wheel drive variant unless you genuinely live somewhere cold that consistently demands it for winter traction. The all-wheel drive system uses an older, noticeably clunkier 6-speed transmission that protrudes uncomfortably into the driver's footwell, while the rear drive model instead receives Lexus's considerably superior, noticeably faster shifting 8-speed automatic transmission entirely. This generation has already absorbed most of its depreciation, making it genuinely affordable relative to a comparably equipped BMW of the same model year. But a Canyon Carver is impressive. The next car proves Lexus genuinely knows how to build a proper muscle car. Number 5. Lexus RC F 2015 to 2020. Buying a high-performance sports coupe is usually a guaranteed, well-documented path straight toward genuine financial ruin once the original warranty finally expires. The RCF breaks that exact pattern entirely, earning genuine, widespread praise from the entire track day community, specifically because its drivetrain is mathematically close to indestructible under sustained abuse. The genuine heart of the car is the 2UR-G E5.0-liter naturally aspirated V8, with cylinder heads genuinely hand-finished by Yamaha's own performance engineers, featuring titanium valves and forged connecting rods straight from the factory floor. It produces a genuine 467 horsepower, revs to 7,300 revolutions per minute, and remains one of the absolute last naturally aspirated V8 coupes still actually available anywhere on the used market today. Target a genuinely clean 2015 to 2019 RC F specifically, with full documented service records ideally included throughout its history. The one component worth actively avoiding: the optional torque vectoring differential, which relies on genuinely complex electric motors that can ultimately fail entirely under sustained, repeated track abuse over time. Seek out an RCF specifically equipped with the standard Torsen limited slip differential instead. Purely mechanical, noticeably lighter, and considerably less likely to ever fail at all, regardless of how genuinely hard it's driven. The factory exhaust note alone has earned the RCF a cult following entirely separate from its mechanical reputation. But a genuine track weapon is one thing. The next SUV was engineered to survive something closer to an actual apocalypse. Number 4. Lexus LX470, 1998 to 2007. The LX470 is essentially the mechanical twin of the 100 series Toyota Land Cruiser, a platform Toyota deliberately engineered with a planned 25-year service life specifically to survive the brutal Australian outback and similarly demanding terrain worldwide. Lexus simply added genuine leather, real refinement, and a badge on top of an architecture that had already proven itself everywhere across the globe that genuinely mattered. The genuine heart of the truck is the 2UZ-FE 4.7-liter V8, built around a heavy-duty cast-iron block rather than the aluminum construction increasingly common in modern engines that warp under sustained heat. Documented examples have crossed 1 million miles on original internal components, an achievement that genuinely places this specific V8 among the most durable engines ever installed in any production vehicle ever sold anywhere worldwide. Target the 2006 to 2007 model year specifically, which received the upgraded VVTi engine variant specifically and the considerably superior 5-speed automatic transmission. The genuine weak point: the active height control hydraulic suspension system. Check the fluid reservoir under the hood directly. Dark, sludgy fluid indicates years of neglect and likely failed accumulators, while a genuinely healthy system smoothly raises the truck from low to high in under 15 seconds. Clean, well-documented examples have actually appreciated in value over the past several years rather than depreciating like nearly everything else this old. But a global survivalist is remarkable. The next sedan is simply the most reliable compact daily driver available on the used market today. Number 3. Lexus GX470, 2003 to 2009. Before the GX460 ever existed, the original GX470 proved the exact same body-on-frame formula at a noticeably lower price point, sharing its underlying Land Cruiser Prado architecture and the legendary 2UZ-FE 4.7-liter V8, with both the LX470 and the rugged Toyota 4Runner sold alongside it. Owners routinely report crossing well past 300,000 miles on the original engine and transmission, with Repair Pal placing average annual ownership costs comfortably below $600 across the entire model run as well. That reputation, though, comes with a genuinely important caveat buyers need to understand before shopping. The 2003 and 2006 model years specifically earned the worst reputations within this generation. Documented drivetrain clunking from worn differential bearings, frustrating electrical gremlins including battery drain overnight, and premature brake wear that caught early owners off guard repeatedly. The 2007 through 2009 model years resolved nearly all of these issues directly, with 2009 specifically standing out as the strongest year overall. Refined build quality, the fewest documented owner complaints, and genuinely strong resale value relative to the rest of the lineup. Target a 2007 to 2009 GX470 specifically, with documented timing, belt service history, and no unresolved differential noise during a test drive. Buyers specifically prioritizing leather and luxury features over raw value should still choose this over the mechanically identical 4Runner sold alongside it. But a tank from the early 2000s is solid. The next sedan is universally recognized by mechanics as the single greatest car Lexus has ever built. Number 2. Lexus IS-F, 2008 to 2014. Years before the RC F existed, the IS-F proved naturally aspirated. V8 reliability could coexist with genuine four-door performance, built specifically and deliberately to compete against the BMW M3 on Lexus's own uncompromising terms. The result remains one of the most overlooked enthusiast bargains currently sitting on used lots, mostly because casual shoppers never realize a sedan looking this understated genuinely hides this much real engineering underneath its plain skin. The 2UR-GSE 5.0-liter V8 found here is the direct mechanical ancestor to the engine later used in the RC F, sharing the exact same fundamentally overbuilt architecture and producing 416 horsepower through an 8-speed automatic transmission engineered specifically for rapid, genuinely smooth shifts under hard acceleration. Because Lexus built relatively few of these compared to mainstream IS sedans, documented long-term ownership costs run remarkably low for a performance car in this exact category, with the drivetrain itself rarely ever generating the kind of genuinely expensive failures that plague comparable German performance sedans from this same era. Where to find one today? Clean examples remain genuinely available through enthusiast forums, specifically tracking this model, frequently underpriced relative to the actual performance and reliability data, quietly supporting them all along. The paddle shift gearbox alone offers a genuinely engaging driving experience. Most modern automatic transmissions still struggle to replicate convincingly, but even the IS-F's engineering can't match the single sedan independent mechanics universally call the greatest car Lexus has ever produced. Number 1. Lexus LS430 2001 to 2006. Ask any independent mechanic what the single most reliable luxury car ever built actually is, and the overwhelming majority will give you the exact same single answer without any hesitation whatsoever. The LS430 represents the absolute pinnacle of what conservative, obsessively over-engineered automotive design can actually achieve when cost genuinely wasn't the primary design constraint at all during development. Toyota poured enormous resources into perfecting this car specifically. Panel gaps measure in fractions of a millimeter. The interior uses genuine wood trim cut from the same source tree, so the grain pattern matches seamlessly across every surface inside the cabin. Underneath all of that obsessive detail sits the 3UZ-FE 4.3-liter V8, the same fundamentally reliable engine found in the SC430, here completely avoiding the fragile turbochargers and overly complex electronic networks that define comparable European competitors from the same era. Target a 2004 to 2006 LS430 specifically, the facelifted model featuring the modern 6-speed automatic transmission. The one trim worth actively avoiding entirely, the ultra-luxury package, which included an early pneumatic air suspension system prone to sudden, genuinely violent failure, costing roughly $3,000 to repair. Stick to the base or custom luxury trims instead, both riding on simple heavy-duty steel coil springs that genuinely never fail. Cabin noise at highway speed measures lower than nearly every rival from this era, a detail engineers reportedly obsessed over for years during development. Buy correctly, and this V8 will comfortably carry you past 300,000 miles without complaint. 12 Lexus models, each one proving the exact same underlying lesson: conservative engineering, proven platforms, and a genuine refusal to chase complexity for its own sake. From a hatchback secretly hiding a Prius to a sedan, independent mechanics universally agree is the greatest car the brand has ever produced. Which Lexus do you actually trust the most? Have you ever been burned by a bad used luxury car before? Tell us in the comments and subscribe because we're covering every brand next.